My first moose, all I had was my truck, a junker of a John boat, and a 40 horse Evinrude motor, and a spotting scope. Is how I took my first moose. I mean, that was a long time ago. But listen up, I'm going to tell you the story. And I didn't know much about moose hunting at the time, and I was a pretty good, really, I was already accomplished elk hunter with a bow and whitetail deer and mule deer, and was attempting goat prior to joining the military and then sent to Alaska. Long story short, I get into my first moose hunt years later, and I didn't know how to do it, but I knew that the hunting area that I was going into was legal for me to go hunt it, and by that point I was a resident. So I'd already spent over 4 years in the Air Force there in Anchorage. So I'm a resident, the area is open, the GMU is open, and I'm like, I don't know much about moose calling. I heard about, thrash in the brush and cow calling, and heaven forbid learn to know how to judge the width of moose antlers. And the area I was going into was 50 and 4, so the moose had to be 50 inches wide, or at least 4 brow tines on one side. So this area looked really swampy. It was great looking, and so I basically got up one morning and drove to the top of the mountain. There's a road there, and it looked over into these flats, these lakes. There's a whole series of lakes. There's a lot of lakes in Alaska. And I sat there as the sun was rising, drinking a cup of coffee, my spotting scope, and I'm looking down the mountain a few miles away, from a mile to about 5 miles away with the spotting scope, and I can see these big animals swimming across the lake, around the lake, walking, swimming. I thought they were swimming, and leaving these mud trails in the water. And I'm like, it's got to be moose. And then I kind of thought they were all bulls, and then I realized that was just seeing the shoulders, but they were moose for sure. But there was a couple of them that had this deformity, big old honking thing on the top of what looked like top of their head, and I figured they were bulls. So how you do it? This is moose hunting 101 basics, but I literally went back home, and the next morning it was the weekend for me, and by this time I was working for the railroad, but it was my weekend, and I literally got up the next morning, and after figuring out where to drive to the river system, where I could probably get the boat in, which was a virgin gravel bar where a dirt road led to, put the boat in, headed down there, and I had mapped it out. I didn't even have GPS at the time. I just had the maps. We're talking like back in 1998 maybe. And I followed this river that took me to this junction, that took me up this river, which took me to this lake. And I had to figure that out because it starts getting, flat, and got me into where I saw those moose swimming around the lake, crossing the lake. And moose forage, they'll eat vegetation at the bottom of the lakes. So that's what they're doing, which is amazing. They swim like beavers. And I got into location late that evening. I ran into one log jam. I had to literally, by myself, this is a solo hunt. And before I go any further with this story, you want to watch until the end, because at the very end, I'm going to give you some information that can give you help in figuring out, or some training for you to learn how to do this with me personally, one-on-one. If you want that, at the end, you can do that. You'll see it up in the bio or over in the comment section. Okay, back to the story. So that night I got into location. I slept on this little itty bitty island that was barely 6 inches off of the lake's water level, and trumpeter swans were incredible. The ducks were there, mallards were flying around. It was gorgeous. I saw some moose right where I'd seen them from the mountaintop, and woke up the next day, and nice and stealthy paddled across to where I saw other bulls. or other moose, and lo and behold, a bull come in to my thrash in the brush, and I filmed it, but I couldn't figure out if he was, legal. It all happened pretty quickly. He had big rack, and I filmed it, but I let him go because I couldn't tell if he had at least 4 brow tines on one side. And you got to be sure they got it, the minimums for that given region. And this area was 4 brow tines or 50 inches wide. So that morning was gone, and I found another island a little bit closer, and it was like 8 feet off of the water level of the lake. It was perfect. Spent the day there because what are you going to do? Put up camp, and I hiked around. Had a great time fishing for northern pike. Spent the night there by myself, solo hunt, to a little 2-man tent. Woke up the next morning in the dark, and I could hear moose grunting out there in the water. It was dead calm, and I started thrashing the brush, and this little island I was on was maybe 20 yards by 40 yards, period. That's it. Then it went on water all the way around. And there was actually some moose right on that island, and they took off running in the water, and I could hear bulls grunting coming my way just from thrashing the brush and bull grunting. I didn't do any cow calls because I wasn't good at cow calling. I didn't know how to cow call, and that's the one thing you can really mess up is a cow call. That'll blow it for you. I mean, it's like doing the wrong bugle for elk or a wrong cow call for elk. It's just, once you're been discovered, the tone's off, you're done. And so here's a bull coming from the west, here's a bull coming from the north, and then it's like, and I heard another one out there coming from a different direction. I'm like, wow, this is cool. Long story short, this bull comes in, and I'm trying to figure out if he's legal. He's not giving me a good look at the brows. He's 3 on one side. I can't tell if he's 4. And then the fog broke, and the sun hit his 4th brow tine, and he looked up and sniffed the air because I had just quit calling altogether. I didn't want him to come in any closer. I had my bow, and I had my rifle, and I'm alone. And the sun glistened off that 4th brow tine when he lifted up and sniffed the air, and he had 4 brow tines. I picked the rifle up and shot him at about 80 to 100 yards away, and he dropped. And here's the picture of him right here. I'm showing that to you. My very first bull moose. Took me 3 hours by myself to process and quarter up, this 1,400 pound animal roughly. And I was able to move the boat to within 40 yards of him because it was all swampy, and I packed him into the boat by myself. I had to get out that night because I had to go to work that night with the railroad. So boy, it was a big chore, but I was super happy. My first bull moose. Here he is again. If you like this kind of stuff and you want to know more about it, how to do it, you're new to it, maybe you've shot a few bulls and you want to know how to get big giant ones. Man, I've killed a lot of bull moose over the years, and I'd be happy to help you out. I've got the training for you, and I've certainly killed a lot of 60 and 70 inch bull moose. Love to help you. The link's up either in the bio, or it's over in the comments, or you can always DM me or send me an instant message on Facebook. I'm all over social media, so reach out to me. I'd love to help you guys. I hope you like this story. There's going to be more to come. Every weekend I come out and I do this talk. You guys seem to resonate with it, and with the way social media is these days, you don't know what's real, but this is real. This is part of my life. Stay tuned, and God bless. Be safe.